Welcome to the Building Resiliency Podcast. I'm your host, Todd Miner, along
And
with
this
my
is
wife.
this is Mia Minor.
We want to thank you for being here. Um, why are we coming together? We realize the need to foster resiliency in our community, emphasizing families that support our young people and parents who are the true strength in our community. We also want to discuss ways to build resiliency in the face of daily challenges we and our families face. We also want to discuss available resources that may be available to help in the community. Here's a little background on our foundation. We started in 2019 after the passing of our son Matthew in 2019. We are 501c3, and we are committed to bringing awareness about online harms and challenges such as the knockout challenge, blackout challenge, body shaming, and other harms. We're inspired to provide help to families coping with grief and loss and losing a loved one unexpectedly. And we're based in Accokeek, Maryland, and we also have college scholarships that we award each year. Mia, you want to read this quote,
The
please?
Minor family, okay. The Minor family for us is a campaign born from the deepest loss, driven by the love and memory of our young boy, Matthew, who always worked hard to protect others.
Thank you, Mia. And then now, real quick, we're going to get into our updates. Since our last podcast, Net Choice, who works for the big tech, they've sued against the Maryland Kids Code, saying that it has issues with free speech or that it blocks free speech. The Maryland Kids Code Coalition and us, we're confident that the law will be upheld, since we had constitutional experts take a look at that legislation to ensure that it could uphold to scrutiny. Just a week or two ago, we had an NPR interview that's up. You could go to our website and see that. There's audio, but then we're quoted actually in the actual write-up. We also, I don't have listed here, we actually had a op-ed that went out, and I think that's on our website as well. So we've definitely been busy in the background, and probably coming up in the next week or two, we have a podcast that we did with the nonprofit Enough is Enough. And so be on the lookout for that. We're going to share that on Facebook, and also we'll share it on our website as well. Just real quick, wanted to give an update on our scholarship, Memorial Scholarship. We've received over 600 applicants. With your help and with the donations we've received from our supporters, we plan to award 8 scholarships this year. So with that, we will move on to Mia. Could you read what the definition of resiliency is?
What is resiliency? Definition: resiliency, the capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties, toughness, the ability of a substance or object to spring back into shape, elasticity. While in the ring we call life, you may get knocked down, but you are able to get back up.
Oh, very good. So our guest speaker for tonight is Kachina Smith. Kachina Smith is an intuitive and integrative medicine consultant. Her career began in medicine 20 years ago as a pre-medicine intern and evolved while studying multiple specialties until deciding to pursue integrative medicine. She became a successful doctor of acupuncture and wellness consultant in the DC metropolitan area until 2021, when she took a step back from private practice due to chronic illness. While practicing, her intuitive gifts grew while working with clients, and she uses her certification as an angel guide and psychic to give personalized and sincere guidance for one's mind, body, and spiritual wellness. In American Indian beliefs, which is part of her heritage, the eagle is the messenger between heaven and earth, the illuminator of the spirit, Part of her life's mission is practicing eagle medicine, helping each of her clients. I'm sorry, this little piece is broken, but learn to soar and live their best lives. With that, I'm going to bring in Kachina Smith. Hi, Kachina.
Hey,
Hi.
Kachina, how you doing?
Hi, thanks for having me on the podcast today. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Hey, no problem. I think there's so many things that are going on in the world today. Staying spiritually grounded and kind of getting back to kind of what gets us through each of these tough days. Yeah, I mean it's what we really need. So why don't you give us why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Kachina, and maybe what you're working on, what you're doing?
Okay. With your whole theme of resiliency, that might as well be my middle name. I completely identify with your focus, and that has been a theme personally for me. I myself have had a theme of overcoming illness for my life and healing and helping others as well as myself. Most recently, in 2021, I had to semi-retire from my practice as a doctor of acupuncture, unfortunately, because of a chronic illness that is a disease called dysautonomia, which affects the autonomic nervous system. So to explain, my nervous system, the part of your nervous system that controls all the automatic functions of the body, your autonomic nervous system. So everything automatic, your heartbeat, your digestion, your ability to sleep and rise each day, everything that's automatic about your day and your bodily function. Mine has a slight dysfunction. So it may overcorrect or undercorrect when necessary. So my sleep is often affected, my ability to digest. Sometimes my food doesn't digest for hours. Sometimes it digests too quickly. And that can send me into a number of symptoms that can last for hours. And unfortunately, I can't eat the rest of the day. Also, I can have difficulties where I have chronic headaches and migraines just because I'm sitting upright. One of the main issues that I have called postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, also known as POTS, which is becoming more common because a lot of people get it post-viral, especially with COVID. I have a lot of trouble with my blood flow and circulation, so my circulatory system is not pumping the way it should, which would be an automatic function of the body. So blood tends to pool in my body instead of being pumped where it should be, especially moving toward the head. And being upright too long sometimes gives me headaches, so I have to lay down to allow the blood to flow. So it's been a complete redesigning of my life because of this condition, and still trying to function as a healer that has had to evolve personally for me. But I'm still able to do it. That's part of the resiliency, right? Getting through my own issues and still being able to help others. And more recently, because now that I am at 40, at midlife, I am also experiencing having to deal with aging parents and them also needing focused care at the end of their lives.
Wow. Yeah. Let me, really, let's, as far as being diagnosed and that everything surrounding that sounds like it was a journey, as far as, I mean, it wasn't just one visit and you found out. So, was it something that you knew there was something wrong and that you just kept going until how did that come about? Because a lot of times, or at least in some of my experience, it seems like the doctors are kind of quick to dismiss some things that you might think is wrong with you. So I don't know, was that your experience?
Yes, actually. And, all three of us, if I might say, we've all had to, not just with our own family issues, but with our health, we've learned how to be resilient patient warriors because uh, being people with conditions that don't stand out and aren't quick checklists. Oh, this is this. I can write that prescription for that. Uh, that puzzles some doctors. Some doctors are too tired to bother to
Mm.
do the work to really find out what's going on. And us as the patients, we have to work harder as the clinicians ourselves to get healed. I myself started having trouble as a child, and I had a lot of trouble with my immunity then with asthma, and it began to kind of snowball from there. Very frequent infections. And then when I was 17, I entered ROTC boot camp and started experiencing the heart problems and was passing out a lot. And that connected to another condition I had that's under the same umbrella as dysautonomia. So at age 17, I started to need to see a cardiologist and need medications to regulate my blood pressure then. And trying to climb over all of that and walk across campus and conquer college became a whole new thing. And looking back on it, knowing what I know now, there was so much that the doctors were ignoring that would have been helpful had I known. There's a lot under dysautonomia as an umbrella. Really, it's an umbrella term for so many conditions. And this condition isn't just the symptoms itself, it also affects my ability to work cognitively. How fast I can think some days does get affected, which is why I'm not seeing patients in office, because trying to do 15, 20 people in a day, both physically and thinking on your feet, is a lot of work. Uh, that's hard to keep up with. I could do it with my normal day, but with this condition, if I wake up with a migraine that day, I might be able to see two or three people versus seeing 35 or 40, which was my normal day.
Mm.
Uh,
Wow. Yeah. Big
and
difference.
back then, big difference. And at 17, they just told me drink salty beverages, so have sodas and Gatorade and eat ramen and eat chicken fingers. Just do whatever you do to keep your blood pressure up, and you'll be fine.
Oh,
Which was
wow.
really not enough at all. My blood pressure is normally in double digits, not triple digits, all the time. So it's usually sitting somewhere around 90 over 70. And of course, we know normal is 120 over 80. So that's all they could tell me back then, and they didn't include you're going to have trouble thinking and trying to conquer homework and walk miles a day across large campuses, and hopping on a bus to get across campus with disability services is still not going to be enough. But they
Yeah.
don't tell you that. They have you run on the treadmill and say, okay, this is your problem because you passed out, and take a pill and keep going. And when you've grown up having to get over health challenges, you just learn how to focus on your goal and keep going. Yeah,
Right.
it hurts. Yeah, something is bothering you, but what becomes more important is I got to get to my goal. And that
Mm.
doesn't mean that your health isn't any less important, but you do adapt and learn to figure out, how do I learn how to juggle this so that I still get to my goal and I still maintain my health. And after graduating college, things calmed down because I wasn't doing the same physical level of work. But then things evolved where then they found autoimmune disease. So things have just continued to peel back in layers health wise. And then they found this nervous system disorder exactly 17 years later. At age 34, I had a bout of bronchitis and hand surgery and a number of stressful things all within 2 months of each other. And they think all of that plus viral bronchitis that turned into bacterial bronchitis, it was too much for my body. And it eventually just said, we had enough. Yeah. So I actually am at Social Security at this point.
Wow, that's a lot. That's tough. That's a lot of challenges. But then on top of that, you have you're caring for your parents as best you can. And I mean, can you share with us that? I mean, because you have your challenges already, and then you're trying to care for them. So what's that like? I mean, what, and then I mean, talk about that. And then I guess I was thinking of a follow-up question too, but yeah, let us know how that is. And then I think I have a follow-up question.
Okay. So I've learned to adapt where I've been very blessed that between my own health challenges, my own physical therapy, and being my own best advocate, which is another part of the resiliency that you talked about. You learn how to be, your own best champion, advocate, really, because you have to fight for yourself all the time. Like you were saying with doctors who kind of dismiss and go, "Oh, well, just do this and you'll be fine," or "That's not what it is. It's in your head. You just got anxiety and you just worn yourself out." But finding, after I got diagnosed, even then, some of my doctors were like, "Well, I don't know what else to do for you." So even then, going, "Okay, well, what's past you? Because I'm a clinician too, and you're still not listening to me." And even having to do that, eventually I got to somebody where I had to turn around and go, "Okay, I'm going to write all this stuff down. I need you to look at it." And you have to do that for yourself as a patient. Doing that helped lead me to getting the things that I needed that helped keep me upright, so now I can help my parents. So in the couple of years of retiring, I was able to find the things that help keep me upright, the right medications, because finding the right cocktail that help everything is useful. I use compression socks every day. I have particular exercises that I do. I have to schedule things of their schedule and my schedule. I have to balance so that I don't wear myself out, because I am also the chauffeur, and I'm also the nurse and the social worker and the case manager for both them and myself. And also, both of them are over 75. My father's 81, my mom is 76, and them having to navigate life, but also life digitally, that they have no clue past, well, how do I, deal with my bank and estate planning, and all of these things have to be done on top of that. So it has a lot to do with pacing, because you can't pour from an empty cup. So sometimes there are days where I have to, "Are you okay? Good, because I'm going to go sleep for several hours." Find
to recharge
where we can give each other. Sometimes we got to give each other a break, because we're ready to tear each other's heads off, and that's when we have to go, "Okay, what can I do for you in this moment that you need right now?" And then I'm going to go take a break. So it's been an intense learning experience for all of us.
Wow. And so then my follow-up question, I guess, would be, just as you're going through all this, I know, because me and we've had our medical challenges and things like that, cancer, and me is disease, multiple sclerosis and stuff. And then, I mean, when you're going through that and you're trying to care for others and stuff like that, there's a tendency to feel like you're alone. And I mean, because people give you kind of that verbal support, but like day to day, you're there by yourself. And so, how have you been dealing with, that, maybe that tendency that happens, the feeling of being alone, or at least the impression of being alone? I don't really know how to do that, because because we had family with us and everything, but still, you don't want to ask too many people for help, and then you want to see how much you can do yourself without asking for help. But then after a while, you kind of look around and you're like, wow, I mean, you've come a long way. You still have a good distance that you have to go, but when it comes down to it, where the rubber meets the road, day in, day out, you may be, like you said, you're the major caregiver or contributor.
One thing is that, and this is going to sound like, oh yeah, I can do that, but in practice is something else. You have to find your own spiritual practice to anchor with and actually practice it.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to make space for that every single day. And some people can look at that and go, what, like pray or something like that? Yeah, something as small as that can be somewhere to start, but you have to have a way to empower yourself or you're not going to make it. And having a history of whether it be a religion or some sort of outside practice, or maybe it is a physical practice, maybe it's born out of yoga, or maybe some other function of meditation or something like that. You need to find ways to anchor your spirituality, because if you don't spiritually feed yourself, sometimes that's quiet time for somebody. If you don't find a way to do that, you can't rebuild the willpower that you need to even muster up the physical power that you're going to need. Because sometimes the physical power is waning, and if you don't have the spirit to back it up, you need that extra oomph, because sometimes even the physical is going to go before you even get there, and you need that spirit to back it up. And for me, my spiritual foundation has always been extremely important. And as I said, touching on it in my bio, as my physical body began to fail, my other gifts actually grew. And as I would touch my patients during treatments, just taking their pulses, just talking to them, I began to strengthen my psychic and angelic gifts, where I could hear angels tell me things while I was working with my patients. And I use that as a touchstone even for myself every day. It may seem small, but those prayers every morning and night can sometimes, even that ritual of setting that ritual for yourself is something to lean on. I know it's going to be there. So, summing all that up to say, if you can create a practice and a ritual for yourself.
That's good.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I know Mia has a morning. She has her daily devotion as well, don't you, Mia? Because
I get up and wake you up and sing. No, I pray, and
that would wake me up.
I journal. That's my helps me
read scripture and journal.
Read scripture and journal, and it helps me just throughout the day to see what God falls in line for me that day. So I have different. I have our daily bread, and I have guideposts, and I have another devotional. And so I look at all the scriptures, and I say, I said, I'm gonna try to get in line and work towards, whatever that may be. And so today was, evidence, of Hebrews 1:11, 11:1. Evidence is, of things not seen, but so we just got to still have faith and continuing on doing what we have to do in our journey. But with that being said, they opened a question up for me to ask. The field of medicine, I saw you was in pre-med, and it's a big field within medicine. What made you choose acupuncture, or the field of acupuncture?
Acupuncture came to me actually after I had struggled a bit, and getting into medical school was not going to happen. And I said, well, I need to figure out another alternative because nothing I want to do on the table but medicine, and medicine is big enough field. I'm going to find something.
Right.
And I took some aptitude testing. Actually, my parents were like, well, we're going to help you figure it out. And it recommended look at alternative medicine. And there's actually only one acupuncture school in Maryland, which unfortunately is now being absorbed into another school now. So that program has just closed. There's another program in Virginia. So there is one program still in the area. And when I went there, it's a marriage of science and spiritual work. Because one thing with acupuncture, first of all, is 5,000 years old. You can't deny something that's been working that long. It is rehabilitative. And you also are treating the person not just physically, but you're also considering everything about them, what's going on mentally and spiritually. And it works very well for almost any need. It's not a perfect medicine. I'm not saying that. It is not a replacement. It is, I think, a good adjunct medicine because it is natural. You do stimulate your body's natural processes to heal, and that you're considering all aspects of your health, not just your physical. Because sometimes it's not just physical, what's really happening with you. Sometimes behind it is, your back pain is really caused by who's been getting on your nerves at work. It's not always just because you pull the muscle. Sometimes you pull the muscle because somebody was actually distracted you. There's a lot more going on to your health than just this broke, this is how we fix it. And I also say that it's also something to marry with, I think, therapy also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's good.
Yeah, that's really good, and even I can attest to that because I like right after my cancer surgery and stuff. Yeah, I think you'll remember, Kachina, my leg was like 3 times this. I wouldn't even say normal size. I guess normal for my size back then, but it was really and you came and did the acupuncture on there, and it really helped. And so I'm definitely a firm believer of that. But then also when you were talking about your intuition, psychic gifts, those things. After Matthew passed, I started seeing a psychic off and on. Nothing, not like every day or anything like that. But I've done that, and I think after Matthew passed, that opened that door for me to think more about the other side. I mean, I had my mother passed, and my dad, and uncles and other family members, all my grandparents, everything, and I knew they were in heaven or the other side, but I didn't really think about it as in depth as it was with Matthew. And I guess because when he passed, I was more kind of adult, and well, that was our child, me and our child, but I think the fact of trying to save his life, and I remember calling on God and trying to, they say you bargain, and I didn't even know that I did that until I started looking at all the stages of math. And I know Mia, we were all both doing that same thing. But then afterwards, I started thinking, where is he? Where does spirit go, and what, and then is he okay? I mean, because he is, still your child, and so you still have those things. And we talked with a psychic not long ago, and they shared that that a lot of the kids from other parents, the parents that we're working with, yeah, I wasn't going to be too specific, but the parents that we're working with, uh, our kids know each other on the other side, and they're maybe
Mm-hmm.
rooting on and cheering us on for, as far as advocating and everything. And I'm a true believer that it's I think I saw it somewhere else, but they were saying it's the journey is the destination. So stop trying to see point A to B and look at the line in between A and B as you are where you're supposed to be, and focus on those things. And I think if and then you could share, but I think if people do that, at least for me, I'm a little bit more relaxed. I know that there's a place that we go on the other side. Uh, Now, what that all the specifics, I don't know that part, but I think that with the intuition and I'll share this one thing about intuition, because I think, at least for me, it kicked in a couple times when I was in the military, and we were doing different exercises, field exercises and stuff, and we were playing war games. So we're trying to get another squad or platoon before they get us and everything. And every time, something always told me there was either an ambush or somebody was about to attack our position or something. Spirit, Holy Spirit, God, angel. I don't, I don't know the specifics, but they were like, man. And so then after a while, they had all these different names for me and stuff. They were like, man, they called me the Magic Man or something like that, because I was like, hey, we're about to get ambushed, get ready. They're like, how do you know that? I said, just get ready. And then the guys were coming across, and I never thought about that until probably one of our conversations offline, separate from here. We started talking about that and intuition. I never thought about why I was receiving it. I just said, oh, okay. And I accepted it, but I never went to try to develop it or make it stronger. Every so often, it still kind of comes up sometimes. But so, I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, how did I guess you had mentioned, as far as developing, working to strengthen your gifts. So how did you do that, and what would you recommend for somebody else?
So when it comes to those gifts, even if you feel like you have the smallest inkling, it's just like any other muscle. So you have to exercise it. It doesn't necessarily go away. You just have to exercise it. And it is something where it feels like trial and error, and you feel like you're doing nothing in the beginning, but you are actually doing something. So this is something that you can explore on your own. And you can look for groups that are available. Of course, before the pandemic, a lot more groups were available that you could actually go to. Even PG community colleges, some community colleges have psychic development courses where you can meet up with groups to do that with. Right now, as of right now, I'm not aware of one that's currently happening, but they did have one at one time. And there are some that are affiliated with metaphysical shops in the area. You can also find someone who also is a psychic or medium or some sort of guide who is willing to work with you and talk to you privately and offer you different options. There are a number of very good books to look to. There is a book, So You Think You're a Psychic by Sherry Dillard. That is a very good book. She also did one, You Think You're a Medium. So You Want to Be a Medium by Rose Van Eyden is also a very good resource. There are books by Echo Bodine if you want to start smaller and look at just intuition itself and how that grows. A book called A Still Small Voice is the one I recommend to start with that one. It starts small, and you just have to continue with your faith and belief in yourself. Because there are days even now where I will hear something and go, that's just the wind. No, I don't think that was that. But it was something important because it'll come back later and show me.
Yeah.
No, you heard what I said.
Wow.
The message comes back and it
Yeah.
says something to you. But no, that's why I said it. So you have to believe in yourself and your power. And it's leaning very, very heavy on faith, because as your spiritual powers grow, you will find it is a faith walk and a faith test.
Yeah, it is. It's a faith
Because
walk.
it is. Because you're not just doing things for yourself. You're doing things on behalf of spirit. And that, faith without works is dead.
That's it.
So that, if you'd ever want to talk privately about your own gifts, you
Yeah.
do that with me at any time. Also, I work for a particular hotline, and we are available, Love 911 Tarot. So the work that I do, I speak with angels as well as spirits. So the spirits that I work with are not just angels, but also spirits who have passed over, and also higher level spirit guides. Many of them are spirits who have worked here spiritually as humans, then have passed over, such as saints. Saint Germain, one in particular, of the violet flame, about protection and transmuting energies from dark to light, so that we have more of the good powers and moving things from the shadow to the light, which is necessary. And in order to have light, you do have to have shadow. So all of it is a process, and you can't have one without the other.
There you go.
Wow, that's really good. And we have a couple questions here that we wanted to ask you real quick. Also, you could take your time. It's just I was thinking about these. So, what was your biggest roadblock to getting started with your current work?
Me. My biggest roadblock was getting over myself. It takes a lot of self-confidence to be willing to stand out in there and go, yes, I'm an acupuncturist, first of all. Most people are comfortable with medicine, but acupuncture, people look at your side eye, especially in our community.
Yeah.
Because needles,
Like
and what are they
needles?
doing? And does it actually do something? Yes, it does, actually. But
I
beyond that,
think
because
even I
of
said that.
Yeah.
and
I
that's
think
normal.
I think even I
I
said
think
that.
the main thing was the needles. Needles. You gotta put needles.
Yeah, I know
They
it's yeah.
hurt.
About
How
the needles
how
sometimes.
big are they? Will I have to pass out? What? No. So yeah. So, but I mean,
So especially like, and what's that going to do? Yeah, so self-confidence is a huge part of what I do, and especially even when I work with a client, whether it be just by giving a reading, an angelic reading, or incorporating acupuncture into it. A huge part of it has to be self-confidence and faith in myself, because I have to be willing to stand there and go, yes, I can help you. And I believe in my own faith, and I believe in the spirits, and who's backing me up is going to help you. Yeah.
That's so strong what you said, and I kind of shared that with Mia, because sometimes sometimes you sit there and think whether you're making a difference, whether you're doing what you're supposed to do, and that kind of stuff, and sometimes you're supposed to be taking action, but other times you're just supposed to stand and share your energy, like you said, and those kind of things, or be an example, or be a beacon, or something, or some kind of anchor that somebody else that may, they might be another ship trying to find their way, but they could see what you're doing and maybe follow that path. And so now I embrace it. I'm like, sometimes I'm like, oh, well, I'm not doing I used to think I wasn't doing as many exciting things as other people that I see, maybe on social media or in real life, because we have a mix of that kind of stuff. You got people in person and people you see on. But then I realized, no, that's okay, because I don't. I mean, unless I look at that and try to compare myself to it, and then even if I did it, I know me that I don't need to do, I wouldn't want to do as much as somebody else. Like that might be good for them, but this feels comfortable and right for me. So I think exactly what you said, because you're saying live your truth, live your, live what, where you're being led, where spirit is leading you to. And I think that's a part of building resiliency too, because then you can look over and see what somebody else is doing and appreciate it. And, hey, I respect that, and that works. I'm glad that works for you. But for me, I'm doing this other thing, or maybe I do a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit over here. And, but I'm not in one too much on one side or another. Everybody's a little different. And so I think just accepting that and giving yourself grace, because that's the other part that I think will free up a lot of things too. If you sit there and give yourself grace, like, for the intuition and exploring other things, even if they, or if they want to do acupuncture or some other type of alternative medicine, go with it. Don't fight that, and don't worry about what other people are thinking, because probably, like for you, I don't know, and maybe you could speak on that, but I think you gravitated to the acupuncture and being an intuitive, but then later on you saw that once you went through that, you probably saw that you weren't by yourself, because other people made that decision to go into those fields as well. Which is the same for us. I mean, we met other parents and stuff. So once we realized we weren't by ourselves and advocating and trying to make the world better and stuff like that, then we felt it was more like a community, more of a belonging, and so maybe you could speak on that. I'm sorry if I maybe said a whole bunch, but I just wanted to share kind of what we were going through and see if that was kind of similar to a similar thing for you.
Well, in both acupuncture and working in I would say the psychic arts, you could say, both crossed over for me, because a lot of my classmates, the best analogy I could give you is if anyone's familiar with Harry Potter, and the school that they go to for the wizards, Hogwarts. Acupuncture school is a little like Hogwarts. There are a lot of former or current nurses and doctors, as well as a lot of people with spiritual gifts, psychic gifts, and they all go to become acupuncturists. So, a lot of us are going there with day jobs, but we're going to become acupuncture wizards on the other side of it, and learning and sharing all of our other gifts as well. So you do find your community there. In fact, my coworkers, the owner of the hotline that I work on, the psychic hotline, we met both in the doctorate program at the school, the acupuncture school that we were in. So we tend to attract a lot of the same people because we're all interested in healing. And a lot of it is the same energetic wavelength.
Yeah. So, where do you think? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry if I cut somebody off.
No, I was reading the question. I was reading your question. Sorry.
Oh, no. Sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to ask, where did you find the strength to continue your work, and then also what your future plans are? What's your plans for the future?
I find the strength in each time I help someone, because I can see the healing and the work reflected back at me, that I was able to help them, or rather, I'm the vessel that the healing comes through, and I can see how the help has helped that person. That's what keeps me strong, is seeing that my purpose is complete in helping others.
That's a deep.
And notice I said my purpose is helping others. I didn't say it was being a doctor or anything like that, but it's about helping
Helping,
others
yeah, keyword.
Yeah.
and bringing the messages and the healing they need.
No, that's good stuff. And
There are.
sorry, hold on.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I think I found that was kind of that was what I wanted all along. I mean, like at work, you're fighting to move up and do all these other things, get promoted, do all these other things, and that was good. It's always good to move up and that kind of stuff. But really, what I wanted to do was help others. I just, I mean, I think after everything that happened in our lives, then it made once I hit rock bottom, then I mean, like all the false sense of self and all that other stuff went away. Because even when I'm at the store, sometimes I just look to see what's going on with other people. One lady, she was just looking. Oh, I'm like, hey, are you okay? Oh, I just wish this line would move faster and blah blah. But I could see she felt better once I was like, well, I said, I'm thinking they're going to open up another register shortly. And just right at the time, the guy opened up another register and he said, who's next? I said, go ahead, ma'am. I was next, but I let her go. And then she lit up and everything, and she was better and that kind of thing. So I think when you get to the crux of what you want to do, what is that? What is the bottom line thing that you want to do? Like you said, I mean, degrees and all this other stuff that you have and all that, but you know that you want to help people, and then everything else you can build around that and change up. You can, I mean, because your degrees don't go anywhere, so you have that to use and kind of use that information and all that knowledge and stuff to help and stuff like that. Or you can pull it back and maybe just help. Like we'll pay stuff forward at the Starbucks or something. Like we'll just pay for the next person's coffee or something. So from there's a full spectrum, but I think as long as you're doing it from the right place in your heart, that's one of the big things. And then with that, what's your plans for the future? I mean, do you have future plans? Are you writing? I mean, what?
I'm laughing because I seem to be getting messages from everywhere that I should be writing. It is intended. I probably will be writing, but everywhere I look, something is telling me you should be writing. Or on YouTube, I get an ad that says, "When you write your book." So I hear the message.
Look, it's messages.
But my plans for the future, besides that, I do intend. I'm getting a lot of messages in there. I do intend to do workshops in the future. I am hoping to get back to teaching. I was helping with tutoring and teaching, especially working in biology and anatomy and physiology. I'd like to slowly get back into working with education, but especially workshops with other healers, learning how to bring healing presence and healing paradigm, folding that into healthcare as it is, because sometimes that's what's missing, and everybody's burnt out because of it. So that's what I intend to do, and keep reading, keep doing readings, and treating people. That's what I hope to do.
No, that's really good. And then one last question I wanted to ask is just any advice you may have for parents. And I did something with it.
Communicating with kids about electronic devices.
Mm-hmm.
I think keeping a dialogue open with your parents is important. Kids to parents, parents to kids. I think the absence of talking, there's a lot of assumptions that are made that if the dialogue door isn't open, then a lot of things get unsaid, and then kids, being curious, start going off on their own. And unfortunately, that can lead almost anywhere with the way uh, things are designed online. So I would say make sure you have a full dialogue with your kids about what could be found on there. You know, start the dialogue there. Don't automatically say just Google it. Well, have a talk about what the search results are. You know, we used to have the encyclopedia, but you know, you could walk over to a book and open it. You know, there's so many
Yeah.
more out there. If you actually open up the dialogue, they want to talk more with you about what they're finding because they get excited about what they learn. So, you know, doing that now opens the door in the future for when they have more questions. You know, make sure that your kid doesn't feel afraid to talk and ask questions with you because that keeps them closer to you and you don't have to wonder what's going on with your kid, and that may save their lives.
Wow. Yeah, that's really good. That's really great, and thank you for that, Mia. Did you have any questions that you wanted to ask?
I have a few others, but it was a good dialogue with you, Kachina, and
Yeah.
learning about acupuncture and intuition and gifts that I wasn't aware. I'm gonna have to call you, you know, and check it out.
Okay.
Uh,
And
and
and you know and you know also if you could share your information, like how to contact you, because
Mhm. So info.soarspirit1, so that's spelled SOARSPIRITONE at gmail.com. Soarspirit1.com is also my website and my IG handle. I am on Instagram.
okay.
I'm not great at Instagram, but I'm still on there. I'm working on it. So if you look for anything from me, it'll be there.
okay,
Yeah, sorry, we kind of had
All
a
right.
little bit of a
So thank you
lag,
so
so
much for
I
having me on.
apologize.
I appreciate it.
okay.
Oh yeah, no
It's
problems,
okay.
and thank you for
Thank you so much.
talking with us. Have a good rest of your evening. All right,
Thank you,
thank you.
Katrina. Have a blessed
You
evening.
too.